Hi there, I'm Steph from Point, and today I'm going to talk to you a bit about job hopping. Today we're going to talk about it from the client's perspective. So what we would call a job hopper is somebody who on their CV it looks like they just jump from job to job, maybe 6 months here, 8 months there. That can be a real concern for clients. Obviously, they want to see that someone is capable of staying in the job for a long time, and maybe gets promoted in the role or something like that. That's a lot more attractive than somebody that just keeps moving on and perhaps can't give very good reasons for it. So I'm going to give the example of a client I spoke to last year who I'd sent over a CV, and on face value, the client was not happy with the CV. Said, "Steph, why have you sent me this person? They just look like a job hopper." I had, of course, done my due diligence on that candidate, and I thought they were a good candidate for the role. To be honest, they'd had a bit of a rocky patch in their CV, moved jobs quite a few times. And I think sometimes when we deal with people who perhaps progress through the ranks of a job, back in the days when a job for life was a real thing, people a little bit older than me, perhaps they sometimes perceive that that they're a bit confused as to why people move from job to job, and maybe that why they can't find what they're looking for. They should just stay in one place and settle down. But working in recruitment, obviously, I know that that's not really how things are these days. And quite often it's the case that we might need to try several different environments to sort of really understand what works for us. To give an example from my own experience, I've been in my job for 9 years now, been with Point for 9 years and very happy here. But before that, I think I had 6 jobs in 2 years after getting made redundant. So, perhaps that's why I'm a bit more sympathetic towards people that are perhaps perceived to be job hoppers, because I know what it's like to try and get taken seriously. When your CV looks like, maybe you struggle to stay in the same place. So what I'd like to just talk about today is to encourage clients to sort of use some of the tools that we've got to try and establish whether someone really is a job hopper, or whether it's just that they've had to make choices in order to find the right position. The first thing really is to look at the candidate's pattern on their CV. So look at the roles that they've stayed in longer and the roles that they haven't stayed in so long. Is there a particular pattern there? Is it if it's a massive corporate company, they don't like it very much, perhaps they prefer a smaller environment. So look out for patterns, that kind of thing. Also, have a look at what their ambition is. So are they someone that's just a high flyer? Are they someone that's moving on from job to job because they're, perhaps feel like they're outgrowing the role, that they're not finding it all that challenging and stuff? Is that a pattern for them? And if that's a pattern, and if what you're offering is a really challenging role, then it's certainly worth a conversation with that person just to see if their ambition aligns with the role that you're actually offering. And the next thing I would suggest is to use the tools that we have at our disposal, such as video interviewing. So ask your recruitment consultant, myself, to do a video interview with the person, and just see for yourselves, what the candidate has to say about why they've moved from job to job. It's always worth really drilling down and actually finding out what their reasons are. Career progression is not a good reason, but you scratch the surface of career progression, and it could be that they've just they've been overlooked for promotion, that perhaps promises made at interview have not been kept. And asking for more money is not a good reason either, of course, but perhaps the person has been in the job for a long time and been underpaid, perhaps, so there are reasons why we do move on for money sometimes. The other thing I would suggest is to use psychometric assessments to get a really thorough picture of the person. So something like Thomas International Personality Profile is the assessment that we use, and that'll tell you if someone is if someone gets bored easily, for example. That would be quite a common thing. So somebody that gets bored easily isn't going to last very long in a mundane job, or something that you can't sort of hit them with fresh challenges all the time. That person's probably going to move on. So ultimately what I'm saying here is if you perceive someone to be a job hopper just by looking at their CV, if I've sent that CV to one of my clients, it's because I believe that person is a good candidate for that job. So what I would say to you is don't dismiss them without talking to them first. Don't make a decision just based on a CV, because a CV is just a piece of paper, and it's much more productive to have a conversation with the person. You might find that they are the right candidate after all. So hopefully this has been useful. Next week I'll be doing a similar topic, but I'll be talking to people that are looking for jobs, who perhaps perceive that their CV reads like they are a job hopper, and giving them some tips on how to overcome that, and how to make it clear that they're a really great candidate. Thanks very much.